Welcome in. Bonus content here on my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube channel. I'm giving you a bonus episode doing Dynasty Rookie Risers from the NFL Combine. We usually don't record on Tuesdays, but I wanted to do a separate episode for risers and fallers. You'll get fallers tomorrow on Wednesday, but we have some risers, and I felt like they deserved their own episode because there were so many of them. Let's jump straight into it. JJ McCarthy. Now, I was impressed with him. It's not all because of what he did at the combine. I did love the 3-cone drill, 6.82 seconds in that. Shows that he's mobile. But more importantly, the news from the combine shows that he's going to get the draft capital. He's going to go in the top 10 picks. At this point, I've even heard that the Patriots at 3 could be interested in JJ McCarthy. I find that hard to believe. The Giants at 6 are a reasonable possibility, but there's a lot of trade candidates. The Cardinals at 4, the Chargers at 5, the Titans at 7, the Falcons at 8, the Bears at 9, and the Jets at 10 are all trade down candidates for the Vikings at 11, the Broncos at 12, and the Raiders at 13. Those 3 need quarterback badly, especially the Vikings do not retain Kirk Cousins. McCarthy, only 21 years old. So you could sit him a few games. You could sit him for a year, and he'd still be 2 years younger than Michael Penix or Bo Nix. So you have time with JJ McCarthy. But I don't think he's that far away from being ready to play. I think a team drafting him would maybe expect to let him watch a few games and put him in the middle of year 1. For me, I have him ranked quarterback 4 still in my Superflex tight end premium rookie rankings, 8th overall. And I think that's pretty clear at this point. Although another riser is challenging for that spot. Next up, Trey Benson. He was the biggest running back riser from the NFL Combine. He did something that I did not expect. 4.39 40-yard dash at 216 pounds. That is an absolutely insane speed size combo. That's great. Excellent. For me, running back 1 in the real NFL draft and dynasty rookie drafts is now a 2-horse race between Benson and Jonathan Brooks, who is also a riser. Didn't include him because he didn't do any of the testing because he's injured. But good news about his injury. Seems like he'll be ready for training camp. Certainly ready. Full go by week 1. So those are the 2 kind of in the mix. There will be no first-round running backs. But Benson made his claim for round 2. I have said that I predict Dallas at 56 will take a running back. Could be Benson, could be Brooks. They've been linked to Brooks a lot, but Benson is a great prospect too. I've said that'll be the first running back off the board. The Ravens at 62, running is just so important to their offense. They don't have anything at running back. I could see that as a spot for a running back. I think the absolute ceiling for a running back in the draft is the Vikings at 42. I can't really see anyone before them taking one. Even that seems unlikely. The Giants at 47, the Bengals at 49, and the Eagles at either 50 or 53 are other outside possibilities. Still think the Cowboys at 56 will take the first running back. And I think it's going to be a toss-up between Benson and Brooks at this stage. Right now, I still lean Brooks ahead. So I have Benson, 14th overall, running back 2, Superflex tight end premium rookie rankings. I just have him behind a few wide receivers, but we'll see. It's just hard to take a running back who goes in the late second round over wide receivers who go in the first round. And I'm predicting that there's going to be 6, maybe even 7 wide receivers in the first round. So for now, I still have Benson, 14th overall, although RB2. Another big riser, Jaylen Wright, and you'll notice a pattern here. 4.38 40-yard dash, 210 pounds. Size, speed, combo. He has that too. It's what the NFL wants because they want the ability to make big, explosive plays and the ability to get the hard yards in the same player, which is hard to find. With this testing numbers, Jaylen Wright has locked in day 2 draft capital. That was a question beforehand. Now it's a question of how high he can go. I think he is in the mix in probably the early 3rd round, but he's moved up my board. I have him running back 3 now. but I still have him in the next tier. Benson and Brooks, to me, are superior. But Wright leads the next tier for me. I'm running back 3 because I'm not sure that he's not the running back 3 off the board. Braylon Allen and Blake Corum, you might hear about them tomorrow on the Fallers episode. They didn't impress me at the combine, neither of them. And then other guys like Bucky Irving were really bad. Audric Estime, really bad. So, yeah, I think Jaylen Wright, RB3 for me. And I think that that's a good spot for him. Next one. And I will say, I had never heard of Isaac Guerendo for the NFL Combine. But I gotta tell you, I was impressed with a 4.33 40-yard dash, ran at over 10 pounds heavier than Jaylen Wright. So 11 pounds heavier, 5 hundredths of a second faster. So that's great. Problem is that nothing else in his profile is good. He turns 24 in June. Really old for a running back. Not quite as old as Ray Davis, but still old. He washed out at Wisconsin after playing 4 years there. In those 4 years, he barely even totaled 100 carries. He transferred to Louisville in 2023. He was fine, but he only had 132 carries in 14 games, not even 10 carries a game. 810 yards, 11 touchdowns. That's good, but that's not the best numbers I've ever seen. 22 catches for 234 yards. Good, but nothing special. So it's not impressive for a 23-year-old in his 5th college season. So his production profile is abysmal. It's abysmal. It's essentially non-existent. Therefore, I still have him unranked. I don't feel like he's worthy of a rank yet. If I see that he goes in the 4th or the 5th round, I'll probably give him a rank. But, right now I've only ranked 41 players, and he's not in my top 41. I think there's a good chance he goes undrafted, and this time it's the only good thing in his profile. So we'll see, though. I will tell you, I'm not going to forget his name. If he gets drafted, he'll be in my post-draft top 50. But we got to see that happen first. Let's get into the receivers. Brian Thomas Jr., you're going to notice the pattern continues. 4.33 40-yard dash at 209 pounds. Again, size, speed, combo. We used to say that we wanted someone to have either speed or size. Speed or size. Now we want speed and size. I saw a mock today that had Brian Thomas Jr. going 9th overall to the Bears from Pro Football Network. I think that's a little bit rich. Now, let's remember, I did a mock draft before the combine. The mock draft that my exercise was based on had Thomas Jr. going 30th to the Ravens. That's no longer a possibility. I think his floor is Jacksonville at 17. I don't think he falls below there. Other sensible destinations include the Colts at 15. They've been linked to receiving weapons. The Saints at 14, who have nothing other than Chris Olave. Additionally, remember we talked about J.J. McCarthy, some of those teams that we're going to trade back, the Titans, Bears, and Jets, maybe the Giants, Falcons, if they already have a quarterback. They could use a wide receiver, but they might miss out on the big 3, especially the Jets. So they could trade back and then take Brian Thomas Jr. in the 11 to 13 range. I don't think he goes top 10. Anyway, right now, I have him wide receiver 4 and 9th overall in my Superflex rookie ranks. He didn't move, but to me, he separated himself from the rest of the class. No one else has the size speed combo after the big 3 that Brian Thomas Jr. has. Now, of course, we're going to talk about X Worthy. He set an NFL record with 4.21 40-yard dash. Fair or unfair? It means he's going to be a round 1 pick. He will be a round 1 pick. Guys who run this fast and are productive in college. We'll go through it again. I went through it on the last video. 981 yards as a freshman. 760 and 9 touchdowns as a sophomore. And, good production, 1,000 yards, 75 catches as a junior. He was productive in college. It's not like he just runs fast and does nothing. But the main red flag for him is not the lack of production. It's the size. 5'11", 165 pounds. He's small. So that's why I still have him behind Brian Thomas Jr. I have him as wide. We'll get to that. Wide receiver 5. The mock draft that I saw today has Worthy going 23 to the Texans. Makes some sense. They need another wide receiver to complement Collins and Dell. Seems about right draft capital wise. I think 23 is about right. I definitely would predict he goes between 20 and 25. No way he falls out of the first round. He's going to be a first round pick, which means he's a great option in rookie drafts. As I said, I have him as my wide receiver 5, kind of the start of the next tier behind Thomas Jr., 10th overall in my Superflex ranks. Now, one last riser, and this is kind of the only player who was not really a bigger name coming into the weekend. Wilson is here, Johnny Wilson, not Roman Wilson, who also had a great week, but he was already high for me. Johnny Wilson is here because he had an abysmal Senior Bowl. Everything about the Senior Bowl was he looked this, it was bad, there was this problem, that problem. But he showed at the NFL Combine that he's a good prospect. 6'6", 231 pounds. That's huge. That's huge. But he still ran a 4.5.2, even at that size. Huge size, still good speed. He has the biggest wingspan for any wide receiver ever at the NFL Combine. And a raw athletic score, which a lot of people have probably seen on Twitter, of 9.88. It's out of 10. That's really good. So he has size. He has speed. He did well in the vertical and broad jumps and has the wingspan. So he has everything measure-wise. Yeah, there were some issues, but these measurements and the RAS will probably get him drafted in still round 3, even in such a loaded class. Last year, 14 wide receivers went on the first 3 days. This year, it's going to be at least 16. I would not be surprised if we saw 18 or even 19 wide receivers drafted on the first three rounds. Wilson, I have wide receiver 16, 30th overall. That's going to show you how deep the wide receiver class. This is a prospect I like in Johnny Wilson. 16 of my top 30 players are wide receivers. There is 2 tight ends, a few quarterbacks, and some running backs in there. But over half of the top 30 players are wide receivers. So if you want to know where the depth is in this class, it is at wide receiver, not at the other positions. The other positions have some good players, but the wide receiver class, this I think is the best wide receiver class we've had, both at the top and in terms of depth that I can remember. Now, if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to sign up for the Patreon, patreon.com/fantasy advice. You can see all of these rookie ranks there. That's where you can take a look at the rookie ranks. I did a little study of running backs in the Discord. You can take a look at that. And you can also have DM fantasy advice where I will walk you through your rookie drafts. I will not be doing that on Twitter. So if you want that, you will have to sign up for the Patreon. Or if you just want the rankings, I have a Venmo offer or buy me a coffee website that I launched there in the bottom of this. And you can just buy those there as well if you just want the rankings and nothing else. But I won't be doing that much of that on Twitter. So you have to check out those products in order to find my full rookie rankings in any way. But once again, I want to thank everyone for watching, and I will see you all later. Peace out.